Yes, I got your letter. Yes, I'm doing better. It cut deep to know you're right to the bone.
By Leif. All I had was a feeling that I was going to be able to figure out how to survive once I got to Norway. 2010. Facebook had been around for 3 years. I had learned enough from Kristian to know that they had internet in Norge to find hotels. I did not know how well Norwegians spoke English, and I could barely speak any Norwegian. You know, I was hell bent on going to Norway. I was going to go to Norway, and if I had to start begging and asking people, how do I find a place to sleep? I mean, there was no turning back. I'm going to Norway. I may never, who knows what was going to happen to me? But I was going, regardless of if I had a hotel or if I knew the internet worked. I'd been to the Netherlands. I knew that it isn't rocket science to go to another country. This trip changed my life forever. Leif and his wife Hild welcomed me home, and it became clear that many had been waiting for me. Totally surprised me. I let them take me under their wings, and they treated me like my grandfather's grandson. They knew my grandfather well. They spent Christmases with him. They taught me, my grandpa was the oldest. They taught me observed. They taught me how and observed me to contribute to my easy transition into Norway. But everything was new, and there was so much to learn. So many new names and memories and different family members to learn and to learn communication comfortably with Norwegians who are often unsure if they speak good English. I would eventually travel to Stamsund all alone and meet Kristian and her boyfriend. Leif would eventually come up too, on his own with Hild. I stayed with them for a few nights and met their children and received guided tours to the special places in their community. One of these places was Håklandstranda, Håkland Beach in English. Håklandstranda is a very special beach located near Stamsund on the Lofoten Peninsula. I took many pictures of this beach in September 2010, and one of these pictures struck me. There was a boathouse with a grass roof at the foot of a steep mountain not far from the beach. I was infatuated. I still am. I was just totally struck by the grass roofs in Norway. I mean, my first trip. I still am. At the time, it was very challenging for me to understand long Norwegian words. And it was also challenging for me to identify a name as a name of a person. This shows you how far I've come. It was difficult for me to understand that some of these words I was seeing were actually a name of a person. I was just learning all these different Norwegian names of people. On September 23rd, 2010, I returned to the United States with a new understanding of my life that I know I could never leave. I could never leave in Norway. This realization was a great reality. my new realization of my life in Norway was a huge reality check that I'd had to try to wrap my head around. It took years to. But I knew I would be returning to Norway in 2011. I knew that nothing would stop me from taking an annual trip to Norway, because this is my life. This is me. And no one in the US understands this except me. There is no group of people I have been friends with who understands what this means to me, how this is who I am. Once I made that first trip to Norway, I knew that there's no way. I knew I had to come back every year. There was no way that trip to Norway, my first trip, was going to be this bon voyage. I finally had a chance to see her. It was great. I was always coming back. I can't even think that way. As 2011 progressed, I worked as hard as I could to expand my business, and my friendships with Kristian and Leif also grew over Facebook, and friendships I gained with other family members such as Gunvar, Helene, Stien, Ole Kristian, Larsen, and Anakin. Just before I took my second trip to Norway in 2011, I made another tile that I was to give to my family in Norway.
Yes, I got your letter. Yes, I'm doing better. It cut deep to know you're right to the